Integral understanding of the meaning of life. Executive thesis. One-sentence summary. The meaning of life is the dynamic realization of our intrinsic unity with the cosmos expressed through compassionate action, personal and collective liberation, and the joyful embodiment of consciousness in each moment. One-paragraph synthesis. Life's meaning is not a fixed object to be grasped. It is an unfolding process of waking up to our interconnectedness and transforming that insight into ethical relations and just systems. Drawing from mystical traditions that see the self as a wave on the ocean of being, evolutionary perspectives that frame existence as the progressive revelation of consciousness, and critical theories that expose the material and social structures shaping our lives, an integral understanding harmonizes inner and outer work. It invites us to cultivate awareness, challenge oppressive systems, embrace relational ethics and creative play, and to participate joyfully in the evolution of consciousness and society. One-page exposition. The search for meaning has animated religious sages, philosophers, activists, and poets across cultures. Eastern sages such as Lao Tzu and Buddha teach that ultimate reality is beyond language and concept. The Tao, that can be told, is not the eternal Tao, and the Buddha's Four Noble Truths reveal that clinging and ignorance generate suffering. We discover freedom by embracing impermanence, acting without grasping, and practicing compassion so hatred ceases. Mystics like Plotinus describe reality emanating from a transcendent one. By purifying our lives and ascending from sense perception to contemplative intellect, we can experience union with the One. Chinese thinkers such as Zhuangzi emphasize spontaneous wandering within the Tao and warn that rigid logic and ritual obstruct natural flourishing. Integrating these traditions, Sri Aurobindo sees evolution itself as a spiritual adventure where matter unfolds into life, mind, and ultimately the supramental. Western critics such as Karl Marx and Maria Mies reveal that meaning cannot be separated from material conditions. Capitalism transforms humans into commodities, exploits women and colonized peoples, and must be transcended through collective struggle. Integral frameworks like Ken Wilber's AQAL remind us that any complete understanding must honor the interior and exterior dimensions of individuals and collectives. Taken together, these insights teach that the meaning of life emerges through three interwoven commitments: awakening to our true nature beyond the ego, engaging compassionately with others and the earth, and transforming unjust structures that constrain the flourishing of all beings. Metaphor and North Star. Imagine life as a symphony. Each of us is both a unique instrument and part of the orchestra. The music is meaningless if we cling to our solo or ignore the harmony. Meaning arises when we listen deeply, play our part with sincerity, and respond to the evolving composition. The North Star principle is this: unity in diversity, honor the indivisible source of all life while celebrating the myriad forms through which it expresses itself. Core synthesis map. The AQAL quadrants provide a skeleton to integrate insights across disciplines. Interior individual, upper left. Who am I beyond my social roles? What is consciousness? Meditation, self-inquiry, shadow work, dream analysis, mindfulness, imaginative visualization. Spiritual bypassing, ignoring the world, narcissistic self-obsession, rejection of personality. Increased equanimity and compassion, ability to witness thoughts without identification, consistent humility and openness to growth. Exterior individual, upper right. How does my body function? What habits support well-being? Physical exercise, breathwork, nutrition, cognitive behavioral practices, disciplines like Tai Chi and yoga. Over-optimization, productivity obsession, body image fixation. Improved vitality and somatic awareness, healthy sleep and dietary patterns, ability to sense subtle energy. Interior collective, lower left. What stories and values bind my communities? How do culture and language shape me? Deep listening, storytelling circles, conflict resolution, building rituals, studying myths and art, learning multiple languages. Groupthink, dogmatism, cultural appropriation. Greater empathy, capacity to navigate multiple worldviews. Creation of inclusive spaces, less reactivity to difference. Exterior collective, lower right. What systems enable or constrain flourishing? How are resources distributed? Political engagement, collective action, economic cooperatives, permaculture, mutual aid, policy advocacy, technology design. cynicism, burnout, hero complex, co-optation by oppressive systems. Concrete improvement in community indicators, health, education, equality, reduced resource waste, building resilient networks. Lines, levels, states, types. Within each quadrant, we encounter multiple developmental lines, cognitive, emotional, moral, spiritual, aesthetic, levels or stages, pre-conventional, conventional, post-conventional, states, ordinary waking, flow, meditative, mystical, and types, e.g., introvert, extrovert, activist, artist. Integral practice encourages growth across lines, recognizes that individuals may excel in one line while lagging in others, and honors the diversity of types. East-West Bridge. Reconcile non-duality and becoming. Eastern philosophies emphasize non-duality, the absence of a permanent self and the recognition of interbeing. The Lao-Tzu teaches that the Tao is ineffable. Genuine action is non-action, wu-wei, where one acts without forcing. Zhuangzi invites us into free and easy wandering by embracing spontaneity and emptying ourselves of rigid concepts. The Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path shows that suffering ceases through ethical living, meditation, and insight into impermanence. These traditions suggest that meaning arises in letting go of egoic striving and resting in present moment awareness. Western and Indian evolutionary thinkers focus on becoming. Sri Aurobindo views evolution as a spiritual unfolding from matter to life to mind and beyond, culminating in the supramental consciousness. Ken Wilber's integral theory similarly posits hierarchical stages of development in individuals and cultures. Plotinus describes emanations from the One through nous and soul into matter. The spiritual journey involves ascending through stages back to the One. These perspectives emphasize purposeful growth and transformation. Integration. To bridge non-duality and becoming, we recognize that the ground of existence is timeless and indivisible, yet manifestation unfolds in time. Spiritual practice involves both resting in the eternal present and participating in evolutionary creativity. The emptiness discovered in meditation is not a nihilistic void but the fertile source from which creative actions emerge. Similarly, developmental growth is not an ascent toward a separate goal but the expression of the one consciousness evolving through form. A simple way to hold both is to view life as a dance. The stillness of the music's silence and the movement of the dance are inseparable. Practical application. Daily stillness practice. Dedicate time each day to sit quietly, attending to your breath without manipulating it. Use mindful breathing to handle strong emotions and generate happiness. When thoughts arise, observe them as clouds passing through the sky. Creative engagement. Set intentions aligned with your evolving capacities. Engage in projects that serve both your growth and community. Recognize the interplay between your personal development and collective liberation. Non-dual inquiry. Ask, who is the one experiencing this? Notice how the sense of a separate self dissolves, revealing awareness as the common ground. Allow insights to inform daily actions rather than becoming detached. Evolutionary optimism. Adopt an attitude that sees challenges as opportunities for growth. As Carter Phipps suggests, integrate traditional, modern and postmodern contributions. View climate challenges as chances for economic and ecological advancement. Desire, power, and liberation. Desire and assemblages. Deleuze and Guattari overturn the Freudian model of desire as lack, positing instead that desire is a productive, immanent force that flows through assemblages and creates realities. Desire is not oriented toward an external object but expresses itself through connections and assemblages, networks of bodies, machines, and social practices. Recognizing desire's creative potency invites us to question normative codes and explore alternative social arrangements. Material conditions and exploitation. Karl Marx shows that capitalism organizes society around the extraction of surplus value from labor. He argues that economic-based conditions determine consciousness, and the history of society is the history of class struggle. Maria Mies builds on this by demonstrating that capitalism relies on the unpaid labor of women and colonized peoples. The exploitation of women's reproductive and domestic labor forms the invisible underground of the economy. She warns that housewifization and colonization are systemic strategies to extract value. Silvia Federici argues that women's bodies have been treated as factories for reproducing labor. Violence against women and control over reproduction are fundamental to capital accumulation. Capitalism thus intertwines patriarchy, racism and colonialism. Deconstructing exploitation requires addressing gendered labor, social reproduction, and intersectional oppression. Decolonization and love. Frantz Fanon, observing colonial oppression, insists that decolonization is a revolutionary, often violent, process that reorders the world. He identifies colonization as a psychological and social pathology and declares that colonialism loosens its hold only when confronted with force. Cornel West adds that social justice cannot rely solely on legal remedies, it must be rooted in love and compassion. He teaches that justice is what love looks like in public, and warns that justice alone degenerates without mercy and tenderness. Genuine liberation thus requires both structural change and cultivation of a loving ethos. Moral commitments for liberation. Recognize intersectionality. Commit to understanding how class, gender, race, and colonial histories intertwine in your own life and community. Examine how your privileges and oppressions interact. Share resources, support and join cooperatives, mutual aid networks, and worker collectives. Practice radical generosity and solidarity. Speak truth to power. As Chomsky emphasizes, intellectuals and citizens must expose the crimes of empires and articulate democratic alternatives. Use your voice to challenge propaganda and amplify marginalized voices. Foster embodied love. Practice kindness, forgiveness, and empathy in everyday interactions. Remember that tenderness is the private feel of love. Deconstruct patriarchal norms. Value caregiving and reproductive labor as essential. Advocate for policies such as parental leave, social dividends, and community care. Recognize that a just society must dismantle gendered hierarchies. The practice stack. Daily practices. Mindful breathing and embodiment, 10 to 20 minutes. Sit comfortably, pay attention to your breath, and sense the body. When thoughts arise, label them and return to the breath. Integrate movement practices like Qigong or stretching to connect mind and body. Micro acts of care. Each day perform a small act of kindness. Send a supportive message, help a neighbor, share food. These acts reinforce interbeing and solidarity. Attention hygiene. Limit consumption of sensational news and algorithmic feeds. Before bed, reflect on 3 meaningful experiences rather than doom scrolling. Cultivate gratitude. Self-inquiry journaling, 10 minutes. Ask yourself, what did I feel today? Where did I act from love or fear? What patterns emerged? Be honest and gentle. Imaginal rehearsal. Before sleep, visualize a situation you want to transform and imagine responding with clarity and compassion. Neville Goddard teaches that imagination coupled with feeling shapes reality. Use this responsibly to align inner states with ethical action. Weekly practices. Shadow work prompts. Choose one limiting belief or reactive pattern. Explore its origins without judgment. Ask, whose voice is this? Is it serving me? Thank the pattern and release it. Embodied service. Devote 2 to 4 hours to community service. Volunteer at a food bank. Participate in a cleanup, mental use. Service grounds spirituality in action. Truth-telling circle. Meet with a trusted group to share experiences of success and failure, joy and sorrow. Create a container of non-judgment and confidentiality. Skill building. Learn a new skill that supports resilience, gardening, first aid, cooperative economics, conflict mediation, coding. Seasonal practices. Learning arc. Choose a theme, e.g., non-dual wisdom, abolitionist movements, and spend 90 days studying it via books, lectures, workshops. Keep a synthesis journal. Community project. Company create a project, mutual aid fundraiser, performance, public art, that addresses local needs and cultivates solidarity. Economic justice action. Engage in activism, e.g., campaign for fair wages, support union organizing. Recognize the link between personal practice and structural change. Retreat and reflection. At least once per season, take a day or weekend offline to deepen meditation, wander in nature, or engage in creative expression. This resets the nervous system. Minimum viable reps. To avoid overwhelm, set a minimum threshold. 10 minutes of meditation, 1 small act of kindness, 1 hour of service per week. Let consistency outweigh intensity, build from there. The inner technology. Attention and awareness. Jiddu Krishnamurti insists that freedom arises not from following systems but from seeing ourselves clearly in the mirror of relationship. He declares, truth is a pathless land, and urges us to live with choiceless awareness. Inner technology therefore begins with sustained attention, seeing thoughts, emotions and impulses without suppressing or indulging them. Imagination and manifestation. Neville Goddard teaches that imagination plus faith creates reality. We manifest by feeling the state of our desire fulfilled. Joseph Rodriguez, a contemporary coach, builds upon this by integrating Neville's teachings with modern behavioral science. Repeat imaginal scenes, act in alignment with the feeling, and verify results through feedback loops. Use imagination ethically, to envision collective well-being, not just personal gain. The Imagine Act Verify loop. Imagine with feeling, take aligned action, verify results and refine. Silent witness and compassionate action. Thich Nhat Hanh emphasizes that mindfulness is not a tool but a way of being that links awareness with ethical choices. Simple practices like mindful breathing, walking and dishwashing cultivate presence. Mindfulness reveals into being, we are not separate from others or the earth. Compassion arises naturally from this insight. Mindful consumption and relationships reflect ecological ethics. Cultivating higher states. Plotinus instructs that to attain mystical union with the One must purify the soul, ascend from senses to intellect, and surrender into ecstatic union. Modern practitioners can adapt this by engaging in practices that elevate consciousness, intensive meditation retreats, ecstatic dance, breathwork, contemplative prayer. Remember, the goal is not escapism but transformation that informs ethical living. Ethics in action. Below are 12 principles distilled into wallet card simplicity. Each has a rule, a test, and a courageous act. Into being. Rule: act as if others are yourself. Test: do I consider the impact on the least advantaged? Act: spend a day consuming nothing not locally or ethically sourced. Non-harm. Rule: do not intentionally harm